Hey, what's up, everybody? Today, I got Mr. Duffy. We're going to talk about Bigfoot and other paranormal things with interdimensional stuff. Today, I have Mr. Duffy with me. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and what got you into the paranormal?
Oh, sure. Really was the internet that got me into the paranormal, but grew up in New Hampshire and moved to Colorado. Been out here for about 20 years, and I've always been interested in Bigfoot and such. And then when I got the internet and started watching YouTube videos, I realized there's a lot more out there than the Patty film, and just kind of opened up a whole Pandora's box of areas to explore and stuff to see. So,
And you got your own paranormal YouTube channel?
Yeah, I got Mr. Duffy 81. It's where I like to go out and do Bigfoot research, and I did get one on camera, actually. I got a video featuring one that I got on camera in New Hampshire, so I've been close to them in the woods.
And is it clear footage or what?
It's a screenshot, so actually I turned the camera away as I was walking over these logs, and I was looking away, but he looks out from a tree, and actually I get a really still shot of it. It's pretty good.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. So you like an adventure. You like to go out and actually paranormal adventure.
Yeah, it was amazing that day. I wasn't scared at all. I was just really into it, and I kept hearing the snaps, and I'm like, is that a squirrel? Could that be rain? I'm like, that is really close. And by the end of it, I realized, oh my gosh, they're actually around me. And I got another video of them peeking around a tree, looking at me too. So there's a couple captures.
Yeah, they're shy, man.
From farther away. Yeah, for sure. They're amazing creatures.
So do you want to go through your first experience with them that got you into this whole thing? Yeah,
for sure. It's kind of, what inspired me to go looking for them is that they kind of contacted me. And it's an interesting story. I would listen to Coast, and I would hear David Paulides on there all the time talking about the missing 411. And then my mom came to me one day. She's a real estate agent. And she said, hey, I'm selling a house to somebody, and you probably know who they are. And I'm like, what? And then she told me, it's a guy that's on Coast to Coast AM that you've probably heard. Told me it was Mr. Paulides. I've never met the man. I did help her stage the house, but subsequently thinking about him, I was up at my mom's house watching some Kiwoni Lapsaritis videos, and he was talking about the psychic Sasquatch, and I'm thinking, if the Sasquatch is psychic, I wonder if they know about David Paulides. And then I start thinking, I wonder if they know about me, thinking about them being so close. And then I thought, well, they're in the mountains. They could walk here in the 2 hours that I'm listening to this video. And then I actually had to leave at 2 a.m, and I was kind of scared. And I looked out the door, and I'm like, I hope there's no Bigfoot out there, mountain lions or anything, and I can barely see. And then I had this psychic vision in my mind's eye of these electric beings, and it gave me an involuntary muscle reaction to turn down and look away. And all of a sudden I snapped out of it, and I locked the door, and I got really scared. And I'm like, was that real? And I'm like, I don't even know if that was real or not. That just freaked me out. So I gathered up my laundry. I get in my vehicle. I drive all the way home, 10 miles. I get home. I take my laptop out of my laptop case, put it on the kitchen table, and I set my laptop case on my couch. And I opened up my computer to see if my download had finished, because I'd actually downloaded the YouTube video. I wanted to watch it again and again, and I didn't have internet connection at the time. And my laptop case went flying 3 feet off of the couch. And right there, that was verification for me that, oh my God, that might have been a Bigfoot. Because I'm questioning if this even happened to me at my parents' house, and if this, takeover of my body or whatever I saw was even real. And then I'm like, okay, that's confirmation. And then it went off from there. And I've had some really cool kind of psychic Sasquatch stuff happen to me. So I think just because I believe.
Can you describe, you said electric beings, but can you describe that in detail? What you meant?
Yeah, I could see right here in my mind these two electric. It almost looked like somebody took a brown Crayola marker and just went down this, from
what
top
color?
to bottom. A classic Crayola brown, a chocolate brown. And it struck me. It took me over, and it only was a second or two, but I realized, whoa, this could be them. I've had some other psychic stuff happen to me. I've done a lot of meditation in college, and I've had some other physical things move. And I actually saw a psychic vision of the future once, where I went to look out the window, and in my mind's eye, I saw the scene outside and the exact people and the exact motions. And I was on a college campus. There's no way I would know all the people who are randomly walking between classes. And I mean, like, I saw exactly what I was about to see as I opened the blinds. It was really amazing. And then another time I was caught up on this book. I'd read a book called The Only Planet of Choice, and it was like psychically transceived information. And there was a sentence that said, there are things on this planet that you humans don't understand. And I was caught up that he repeated himself, and that they didn't edit that out of the book, because they explained how they edited a lot of the double stuff out of the book. And at that point, a dry erase marker came flying off of a dry erase board like 15 feet away, and it came stopped spinning right next to my feet.
Weird.
And I was like, yeah, it was pretty cool.
You know what's weird about you said it looked like an outline?
Uh-huh.
I was in bed with a clear mind, and I saw an outline of, it looked like a monkey man, but it was like neon, like orange, and it was just an outline like a neon sign almost. And it was like looking at me and going like this and like blinking right in my face, and I was like, what the hell is that? And then it just went, I lost it.
Really?
So it's similar to what you said, so that kind of validates that maybe they project somehow to communicate that way, or physically go into another reality and look at you from there. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if you even like look at the nature of meditation, stillness, just letting everything go and just being at one with the moment. That's what the Sasquatch is doing out in the forest all the time. They're not all hustled and bustled by the TV and the phone and society. They're kind of in their own world, and I think they spend a lot of time in their own mind, which I've done, and I think it does open up certain possibilities.
Damn.
Yep.
And they did telekinetic stuff at your house, like throwing things?
Yeah. So I've seen things move, like an ornamental glass figure, like right in front of me, like flipped over. I've seen a knife slide across the plate. One time, my wife and I were having an argument, and I said, "Hey, let's be quiet. I don't want our daughter to hear us fighting." And right then, boom, her doorknob, we have like the handle that goes down like this, and it got like pulled all the way down and let go, and it just flew up, and I ran to the door and opened it, and I looked at her, and she was sitting straight up in bed, and I said, "Did you do that, honey?" And she said, "No." "Did you do that, Dad?" I said, "No, I think the Sasquatch did that."
Poltergeist, it seems like.
They've let me know that they know that I'm thinking of them. I did a video on Sasquatch nutrition, and I had a bunch of supplement bottles out, and I take a lot of vitamins. One of the bottles, my wife witnessed this right next to us. All of the pills shook in the bottle, but the bottles never moved. We just heard, and I was like, I looked at her, she looked at me, and we're like, oh wow, that's confirmation right there. Like, there's no doubt about it.
Do you live like near the woods or what?
No, I don't. But coincidentally, I live about a half a mile or so from this greenbelt area, maybe 3/4 of a mile, that I researched. That's where I saw a baby Sasquatch next to a teepee. He ran away, and like, I could tell that story.
Yeah, man. Yeah, tell the story. I want to hear about the baby Sasquatch.
So like this greenbelt area, I found a bunch of structures in there, and I was just going through it. I'd already found this teepee in the spring, and the grass wasn't that tall, but I went back months later in like August, and the grass was like above waist tall. And I went a different direction to the teepee, and it was in the corner of this greenbelt where there were no trails, and it was only a short teepee, 4 feet tall, 5 feet tall or so, maybe 6 at the tip. But something broke in the grass, and I could tell by the way that the feet were hitting the ground so quickly. It was 4-legged, and it was relatively small, and I thought maybe like a bobcat or something, because it wasn't quite as heavy as a dog, but I could hear it quickly, boom, 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 through the leaves, and then it sprung up after about the 4th step, and the back came up. I could see the hair. I could see through the hair. I could see the gray skin underneath, and I was looking for the ears of a cat and for the tail, and both those things I'm going front, back, going, it has neither feature that I'm looking to distinguish if this is a bobcat or what animal it is. And it had a rounded head and little butt, and only the back and came out and the top of the head, but it cleared the top of the grass. And like, I was astonished because I wasn't expecting it. And I was just standing there, like, my heart was pounding so fast. And I'm just like, don't spook him. Don't chase him. Just, that was an amazing moment. And I'm like 90% sure that's what it was. He went up around some oak trees so fast.
Was it like a human butt?
I didn't actually see the butt crack. I just saw like the end of the back where it ended, and he just came out of the grass and went back down. But it was high enough that I should have been able to see the bob of a tail. The same with the head. It was high. I'm like, where's the ears? Because I have 2 cats. So I'm thinking, are the ears down? Where are the ears?
It was brown.
Like, oh my God. Yeah, it was like a patchy brown. It was kind of a like, it almost looked like a two-tone, like a tan and brown, kind of like a light tan. And I could see through the skin into through the fur into the skin.
Interesting, man. Yeah. The roundish head and it's weird that I guess I hear a lot of stories of them walking on 4 legs though. So like that area, like where I saw him and like found all those structures, actually got featured in one of Chris Noel's books. He took an interest in my research there for a minute because I was finding so many like really like urban Sasquatch finds, like right up to humanity. Like this greenbelt, the river goes right up into the mountains, and I can follow it. And literally, there's like numerous parks I go find like structures and all sorts of stuff in. So it's just like this continued belt of just like Sasquatch activity. And I have found that they follow the rivers like right out of Denver, south and west. I've found like amazing stuff. Like found a big 15-foot tall like nest in a tree that was just tons of stuff tucked in. And I found big teepees and I found footprints. I've been scared out of an area before where I went really deep and I knew they were there because there were trees right at the base, just crushed, like 3, 4, 5 of them. And it's totally silent. And I'm like half a mile in the woods off the top of this mountain, like, oh man, they're here. And then I gifted them like 3 hard-boiled eggs in a bag. I hung it on this tree where the 2 trees were like this, leaned on another. And then I was trying to mark the GPS location on my phone, and snap, a huge, branch like that just gets crushed like right near me. And I was backing up before I could even like try to be brave, and I was out of there. But I've been back to that area, and I actually think I had a female talk to me, and I got it on tape. Like there was a bunch of crows yelling, but something called out, and it sounds like a female's voice. And I've had them wood knock to me there. And at that park on the other side, I actually got a samurai chatter response. I saw a moose, and all the deer and everybody had babies, but there was one moose. It was all by itself. It was a female, and it looked all depressed. And then I was walking in the woods, and I'd yelled out just kind of like on a whim, like, hello, just an instant samurai chatter response, and it hit a tree. And I just like turned around. Yeah, he was like, run him up. And like my first thought is, how did he grab a stick so fast and hit the tree? But I've come to realize that I think they use their hands probably. But I mean, I've heard people say that they can hit the trees and knock them down. And I found numerous trees where I'm like, you can tell something impacted it and it shattered like 4 ways, just like timbered. And I'm like, yeah, that was probably the Squatch. So I've had I heard weird talking like that before in astral projection. Have you ever heard of astral projection? I've heard strange talking that sounds similar to that. Huh?
I've tried it before to astral project. I've never been able to.
Well, I've heard that kind of talking in that state.
Really?
I don't know what it is. Yeah.
I've heard some interesting stories. Well, even I saw one of your videos talking about the guys walking through the landscape and it changes, and then you're speculating, what's taking these missing people. And then I'm like, maybe it's the Bigfoot, but maybe it's not always the Bigfoot. I think there's definitely other things. That's one reason I never went and met David Paulides. Like, he said that I could go and meet him. He told my mom that, but I was still like feeling him out. I'm trying to figure out like really what's the deal with him, like why he won't just make his mind up or even speculate. It could be this, it could be this, there's also this. I know he doesn't want to sound like a kook, but it just makes me wonder. I know how it works, and they do like release information for the public's sake, and it just more and more I'm thinking like, is he really like a information release kind of thing, maybe for them, just for their own safety, to be like, oh, we did tell you about it, we warned you, in the national parks, we run them, we told you there was something to be worried about, so it's your own fault if you, I don't know. Just
Do you think
I'm
that?
still feel.
Do you think they're
feeling
interdimensional Sasquatch?
Oh, without a doubt.
Well,
Without a
what makes
doubt.
you think that?
All the stuff that I've seen. Well, I've got some other stories too. Like when I just got married in February. This February, it's going to be 2 years. So
Congratulations, man.
thank you, sir. Thank you. It's been great. But so my wife, she's from Africa, and English is not her first language. So I'm in the bedroom with her, and I'm on top of her, just talking to her. Like I have my hands like on her wrist, and gave her a kiss, and then she went, "Oh," or exclaimed something, and I went, "Oh, did I hurt you?" And I got off of her, and she said, "Oh no," and I'm kind of like, "Okay, we're newlyweds. I'm not gonna press her." Like she said, I didn't hurt her. I guess I didn't. Maybe I did, and she doesn't want to tell me. So I get up, I walk out the room, and our front door's open, and I'm like, "What the heck?" I never leave the door open. I'm meticulous about locking it. So I close it and I tell her, "Hey, the door was open." And she gave me this like wide-eyed look, but she didn't say anything other than that. And then I guess she called her mom. And after like a couple days, she said, "Hey, I got to tell you something." She said, "I had to call my mom and ask her if these things are even real. And I didn't know that you were into the Sasquatch like this," because she said, "I was sitting there, I gave her a kiss, and through the wall, she sees two semi-transparent beings come through the wall. And they walk behind me, and they walk through the interior wall into the living room in the exact direction of the front door where the door was open." And I mean, she didn't tell me this right away. And so I'm like, "Are you kidding me? You promised me this happened?" Like I almost didn't believe her at first. But then so many other things started happening around the house that I'm like, okay, they're definitely like communicating with me here. Because that was before I actually went out looking for them. But even the more I've noticed, the more I go out looking for them, the more activity I have in the home. And there's a direct correlation to that too. If I just lay off and I don't go out for a while, like something might not happen for like a month. But if I'm going out like every day looking, I'm having strange stuff. Things fall off the wall, just like strange knocks and sounds.
They're letting you know they're there.
What? Yeah, the 2007 was like year of the Sasquatch. I didn't even work. I Sasquatched like 100%. But this year I'm working every day, man. It's crazy. So I'm not having as much activity, but what I've experienced is just like mind blowing.
So did your wife describe in any detail what the beings look like height or look at all when they pass through the wall?
Yeah, she said one was like bigger than me, but it was hunched over too. So she, I'm thinking like 7, feet tall maybe. She said, because I'm about 6, and she said he was hunched over and he had his head low, and he's the one that turned to her. She said the first one she thought was male, and it was actually holding the hand of the second one that she assumed was a female. And the female didn't look at her, but the male turned and looked at her as they passed through.
And she said they look like Bigfoot, like hairy and stuff, or what?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I didn't know they were in Africa, but her mother confirmed, "Oh yeah, these creatures are here." And
same with little people. They're in Africa too. They call them the Tokoloshi.
Little people. You know what? I know. I just watched your video, and I want to show my wife that. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I did just see that the other day.
I forget what country that was in, though. But that's one of they call it that in one place.
Yeah, Kenya or one of the Central African countries. But
yeah.
So here's another African story to relate to that concerning like the psychic Sasquatch. So these things kind of like my wife, I think. And so one time she gets a phone call and it's her mother. And she's like, "Oh, my mom, I'm going to go talk to my mom." Great. I love when you talk to your mom. But it goes from like good to bad in a matter of minutes. And I'm like, "Oh, this is bad." They're like fighting and this is going on for a long time. And then I end up going, "What happened? What are what's the matter?" She said, "Oh, well, her dad was an airline pilot and he married her mother and he brought a lot of money to the family. After he passed, there's the family, the mother's side, and the children that were made from the father, stepbrother, step siblings, and one's trying to kick the other out of the house." And my wife's saying, "No, my father bought that house. You're not kicking his children out of this home if you're going to live there." And it's a big family tiff. Now, as this goes on, she gets a call from Africa a few days later that they say, "Your aunt was out back, and the big tree out there?" She says she saw the Sasquatch lean out and it wouldn't stop staring at her. And this Sasquatch stared at this woman for like a matter of minutes. She's like frozen in fear, like watching this thing. It ends up going back behind. It's like a giant tree, they said. Ends up leaving. This woman gets sick. They're calling us saying, please forgive us. Please forgive us. We're sorry. Please, we don't want, this woman almost died.
Damn.
This is a true story.
They're powerful.
I'm telling you. And she told me even, she said it had like, looked like dreadlocks right over its eyes. There's one where that little boy, the Indian boy, took the photo from like his iPad. I don't know if you remember that one, but the same thing. The hair was like down by its eyes, and it's like big looking at him.
So she almost died from like a psychic attack, or what?
Pretty much.
What happened to her exactly to make her almost die? Was it sickness?
Dude, this is it. I didn't even follow up that deeply. I was so shocked, and I didn't. You know, this is Africa. I don't even know what level of medicine they have out there. You know what I mean? A lot of times she's sending money back so that they can do things and get things done. But I don't know how, like, I didn't get a diagnosis. I just heard she's very ill and she's still sick. And I'm like, holy shit. Oh, pardon my language. But I felt really bad.
Damn, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. It was interesting.
That's like they're trying to curse, like, to protect your wife or something.
Well, here's another story about my wife. Like, when I went to New Hampshire, that's where I caught the one on tape. That instance, that's family land, so nobody goes back there. There's hundreds of acres. It's owned by my family. I didn't know they were going to be there, but after I went out and looked and did my whole investigation, I went home. We sat down, ate dinner with my great aunt and uncle. She's 86 years old, blind in one eye. My wife goes to the bedroom to change her shirt, and there's a Sasquatch looking in the window at her. And she doesn't see it right away. As she's looking up, she says it's already leaving. It's already turning to run. But it turns and looks at her and gives her a huge smile. Like, even with the eyes, she said it was just like she could feel the love. Like, it was a totally good encounter. Like, she wasn't scared at all.
Wow.
And dude, it ran behind my back. I had my back to a sliding glass door, and there's like a cornfield behind me, and just like 100-foot of backyard, and this thing just from the corner of the house runs right across. My great aunt literally screams, covers herself. Oh my God, what's that? I turn around, I didn't even see it. It was gone. It was like running full speed.
It's no wonder nobody can find him, man, if they can go invisible like that. That's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't even know if they were invisible right at that moment or if he ran so quickly, because I've seen videos of him running and they're just gone. So, I mean, who knows? It was so quick.
I don't think people will ever find them if they can go through walls like ghosts and do all this weird psychic stuff. They're like more advanced than us.
I think they've been found. Like, I can go to that one group where I've gifted and where they've wood knocked. I mean, like, I'd say half the time, like, I've had, like, you know, reactions there, and I've walked through there and had nothing happen. But there's different. I mean, I've done so much research. I'd just take a map, and I'd even, like, Nathan Rio from Utah Sasquatch, I got to credit the guy, because he's who taught me and really inspired me to go out and do it. Look at the map, find the areas, find out where they go. And then once you find the kind of terrain, you can match it all over the map, and you look for the certain terrain. And I've found them, like, literally dozens and dozens of places. And I've had, like verifiable encounters in certain places where, like, I got foot stomped out of a place with a friend of mine one time. And, like, he asked me, he was like growing weed, and he's like, you know where I could put some plants? And there was this one place where I'm like, nobody goes up this road. It gets locked at night. It goes to like a cemetery. And I'm like, you could go plant them out here. So, like, he planted them out there, and then I went out there with him to, like, check on them, and something had snapped them all over. But before we even got in there to look, we went in like a different way. And the Bigfoot must have, like, recognized the sound of my engine. And as soon as I walked down the embankment, there was like 20 foot stomps, and it was like paranormally loud. Like, I was like, I just was like frozen in fear. I'm like, oh my God, I was reaching for my camera because it was in like this scrub oak patch, like right in front of me. And I was waiting for it to break through this opening. But then in my mind, I'm like, I don't even want to see it because I'm so close. And my friend's like, do you want to go? And I'm like, no, it's friggin' right there. I'm like, let's back up. And then we backed up and we parked back down and walked up the ravine, and then we found him all snapped. And I'm like, sorry, dude. I was like, I tried to help you out, but I'm like, your plants got squashed by the Bigfoot. But it was, I mean, I've never been back there. That was like where I got the sign, like, get out of here, dude. So I've never been back to there. But the first time I went there, even I hung over the ledge and I could hear like footsteps, and I'm like, I'm going in there. I think there's a Bigfoot down there. Like,
they must live there.
Yeah, dude, there's a huge mountain where like there's a cemetery on top and nothing. I've been on the other side where they have bear warnings and there's tons of signs, and then this was on the other side that's like way more lush. The other side's like pine forest, and this was more lushy, but the pine forest like enveloped it. So this was like a ravine that went down, and I think he just came down and kicked me out.
Damn, man. Have they ever communicated? Have they ever communicated anything to you?
Not besides that one that I think like spoke out to me, and it was ironic because like I was thinking, I have it on video where I say, you know, if these things are psychic, I want to project that I want to be their friend, and I want them to know that I'm leaving these gifts for them and that I'm doing this all in good intention. And I say, but they probably already know. And then like right then you can hear this voice yell out. It's like the crows are like crowing, and then with the crow, it's like, hi. And like instantly I'm just like, I heard it with my own ear, like without a doubt. I'm like, oh my God. And I could hear him creeping up like closer to me. I sat there for like 20 or 30 minutes, and I was like blowing this whistle and doing like, I was calling out to them. I kind of do like Mike Patterson. It was getting dark. I went right at dusk, but it was like a really cloudy day where there's like a lot of water in the air, and the clouds were like right there, and it was overcast. So it was really low light, and it was on a Wednesday. So nobody was at the park. Like I went back on like Labor Day weekend, and I'm sure they were following like whoever was in the park. They weren't even there, because I go to this park and it's right at the beginning. I can get out, kind of walk down, I go down the side of the left mountain and go around this one peak, and they're right there. Like they've wood knocked, and it sounds like sometimes they've thrown like rocks off of trees too. It was a weird knocking last time, but yeah, I mean they've been there. And then I found like tons of evidence, like a lot of other places. Just trying to think, even like at my parents' house where David Paulides lives, in that neighborhood, I had an experience where I was out Sasquatching, and I went to my parents' house to like do some yard work or something. And when I got done, my stepdad told me about an encounter where he's like, something growled at me the other night. And I'm like, oh yeah, like, and he knows animals. And he's like, yeah, but it wasn't a coyote. He's like, I don't know what it was. And I'm like, well, what happened? And he said, I pulled in the driveway, got out the car, and something growled at me. And I looked left, and I could hear it growling again. He's like, so I pulled in, and I pulled a little forward, got out the car, just went. I didn't want to go see what it was without a flashlight. And then he went out there in the morning, and there was a dead raccoon. And I went out back behind their house, and I walked along the ridge. They live on the edge of this ridge that is like right after that becomes the foothills and all the pine mountains. So they're like the last ridge before the like real forest starts. And I found these deer legs. These like, they weren't any larger than like this. And they were shaped in a square, overlaid like a front and a back leg. And it was like a fresh kill, like ripped off a baby deer, and they stacked them in like a perfect square. And then I go back and I'm like, tell me about what happened. And I looked at the raccoon, and even I found numerous raccoon kills where the jaw is ripped in half, like sideways. It's one of the hinges where the jaw would normally go like this. It's opened like this. And I think normally on a kill, they'd go for it around the neck, they'd kill it, but the skull's usually intact. And I find a lot of jaws on raccoons all up and down the waterways ripped. And I think the Sasquatch, when they kill them, they rip the jaws in half. That's what I'm thinking anyway. But I think a Sasquatch probably killed that raccoon and growled at my stepdad, even if it was a little baby. Because, I mean, I've gone up in those hills, and it's the exact terrain where you see it, but I was just seeing minimal signs because it's so steep, and by the time I got up to where I needed to be, I'm like, God damn, I'm parched. I'm turning around, but because I can drive right into some areas and go deeper west and into the mountains better. So, but I've done so much exploring, man. I've walked up like places where I could have got bit by rattlesnakes, and I was so crazy to even go there because I found them so much closer. But it was when I first started, so I didn't know I could go so close to find the evidence. So I was hiking like way up, like beyond Red Rock Park, but like going in the back way where there's no trail, like trying to sneak up on them. But the whole time, like, they would have sentries. They could have seen me coming for miles. But I actually got up there. I stayed concealed. I walked a ridge for like 2 miles, and I opened up into this field, and it was a beautiful day. And all of a sudden, I got out there, and I hear this tree, creak, creak, creak. And I'm like, there's no wind. And when I got to that location, I didn't even have the know-it-all to look up, but I found like a bed of evergreen stuff all put down, like a big, like 6-foot wide bed, and like 2 perfect, like cleared off sticks put in a triangle against the pine tree right there. And I'm like, it was probably like up in the tree looking at me, but it was cool because I found all their like evidence right through there. And that was like my first like verifiable, like, man, I know I'm in their area. I could feel them. And it was just, I was getting those vibes, you know. And
can you describe the vibes?
Addicted. Oh man, it's almost like a wave around you, like
hitting a wall.
I mean, when I've thought, oh my God, like I think they're here, I really think they're here. It's almost like it's like the energy, like you feel it, like shakes around you, and just like you get in it's like just like walking into a stream almost. Like I'm dry and now I'm wet. It's like I'm still here, I'm still doing what I was doing, but now I feel different. It's like that kind of thing where I'm still in the woods, but all of a sudden I'm way more heightened, and I'm like slowing down, and I'm going, yep, I feel them. And even when I got up to that area behind Red Rocks, I gifted a cookie that actually was given to me as a gift at the Denver International Airport. So I kind of like, you know, my intention was, okay, I got a gift, I'm going to give it as a gift. I left all this food for them. And then I don't even think I sent you this picture. I still could after the fact, but this cloud like rolls in, right? And it's backlit by the full moon. And it looks exactly like a conical Sasquatch head with 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, and it's like smiling at me. And like, I take it as a sign. I'm like, I know they're eating my cookies that I gave them up there. Like, you know what I mean? Just like, I wondered, I'm like, could they manipulate the clouds even?
I have no idea, like, man.
Because my wife, she'll tell me some crazy things from Africa, and she's like, they live in the sky, baby. And I'm like, what? Tell me about that. And she kind of has a hard time telling me like what she means. She tells me things she's heard. Oh, I've got an interesting story about my wife from Africa too.
Okay.
Where she's a couple years older than me. And one time she was playing on a playground. This was in Somalia in the 80s, presumably. And she had gone away from the group. And she told me how this woman approached her and was like, hey, come, you want to go with me? And she's kind of like, what the heck? This woman had a hood on, she said, and she had clothing on. And my wife notices that in the basket that this woman is carrying is like literally the arm of a baby, or the foot of a baby, or a baby's hand, or like a piece of a human being. And she looks at the woman's hand, and her arm is covered in hair, and she tells me her hand is different. It was a different hand. And as soon as my wife realized that this woman was like trying to abduct her, she screams and runs away, and the lady goes the other way with this basket and runs into the forest. And like, she's like, it's the woods. She's like, it goes on like in the jungle. And I'm like, damn, that's a freaky tale. Like,
I wonder if some of them eat people or something.
I know. I don't know that she got a good look at it or not, but she's told me the story a couple times where I'm like, tell me the story again. What happened? And I was just like blown away. Like, damn,
so
that is
shapeshifters,
close call.
Shapeshifters, interdimensional travelers can manipulate it's almost like we're talking about aliens or some kind of super advanced being or something. And we think they're primitive animals, and they're like beyond us.
Well, yeah, I mean, I imagine there's so many different kinds, and then even, you know, what can mix with what? What is the government mixing in underground bases with what? What are they creating and putting out? What's creating itself out there in the jungle? I mean, who knows what's even being seeded here? What could be put here? You know, people have seen the Sasquatch come out of spaceships, so what if they're putting a dogman here? Or what if they're putting some kind of different creature just as an experiment? Or I know aliens abduct people, and some are never seen again, you know, so makes you wonder.
I wonder if they're like spiritual entities or actual humanoids that are flesh and blood, or what. So it's confusing still to me. I'm not sure what they are.
Yeah, and we'll probably never get a definitive answer, you know what I mean? Because they always say, even in the psychic messages, you ask the Leo about if the bad little people, some are good, some are bad. What can we do? You know what I mean? That's kind of how I take it too. You got to be your best to get your best reaction from others. You could walk down the worst neighborhood in LA. If you projected yourself right, people might not mess with you, or you said the right things. Yo, what's going on, man? You could tone the situation down. But how do you do that with the Sasquatch? That's the communication aspect I find super interesting, going out there trying to brave my fear and getting a response. And it seems they respect that. That guy from New England, when the Sasquatch said, yeah, come meet me, he's like, I'm not brave enough to do it yet. You got to meet me in the dark. You got to come out and do it. It's like, oh man, I've been so close. Have you?
No, I went out in the dark to meet Bigfoot. Not to me. I don't really get scared that easy though. I'm kind of crazy.
I've never done any overnights. Everybody like tells me, oh yeah, we do overnights. And I talked to like Angela Sasquatch. He's got some really good videos and he finds like amazing structures, and they go out overnight and have stuff happen to them. And he's got a really good channel.
I think really they like to come out more at the night because they feel safer, like in the cover of darkness. Like they feel like they can do more without being caught. You know what I mean?
I'm sure. Yeah, it seems more of them do come out at night.
Or it could be because I learned from shamans that when shamans do magic, they always black the room out first because light interferes with shamanism. So they never want to do things in daylight. They wanted to black out everything. Like, I don't know if you heard my Mel Scahan interview with the Native American, and then they talked about the shaman. He blacked out all the windows and turned off all the power breakers.
Yeah,
for some reason that allows things from other realms or spirits or whatever, Bigfoot, interdimensional creatures to come through easier. Something to do with the darkness.
I believe it. Mm-hmm. I believe it totally. Yeah, I'm kind of a night owl myself. I like the nighttime.
So when it passed through the wall and your wife saw it, was that day or night?
That was like probably 4 or 5 in the afternoon. It was in the summer, daylight. So the sun was up. Yeah, the light.
Okay,
the light
so it means they don't require night to do it. Okay, that's interesting. Damn, they're mysterious, man. I don't know what they are. I wish we could like get answers from them, but it seems like they don't want us to know about them. You know? I
like the Fur and Cedar channel. They've got a psychic that does some stuff with the Bigfoot. I enjoy their videos a lot. Yeah, but it's nice to hear those psychic interpretations, like when you had Leo on with the little people, and I always give that a shot. I had a really good psychic reading with a woman in Boulder that it changed my life. Really? And coincidentally, she turned all the lights down, lit candles, prayed to God, and the first thing she said was, "Oh wow, you have a lot of friends with you," and I literally cried for like an hour while this woman just told me all about myself, and it was amazing.
Wow. It was amazing. I've never met a psychic that moved me like that.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect. This woman, her name's Lee Cook. She's in Boulder, and I think she's world renowned. I think people seek her out, and her readings are worthwhile. Huh.
I should check her out sometime. Mm-hmm. Anything else that you want to share that happened to you?
I've got a story about my cat where I have 2 cats. I took the little white one and I put her outside the bedroom door. I closed the door and I turn around and she's sitting on a laundry basket looking at me with the most confused look. And I turned to my wife. I said, "Am I crazy? Or did I just put the cat outside the room?" She said, "No, you just put the cat out." She turned and looked at it and said, "What the heck?" It was baffling. The look on the cat's face was off the chain.
Like it was confused?
It was just like, what? And it was like, yeah, don't blame me. It was almost looking at me like, I didn't do it. Like, I know you just put me out. Sorry. And I'm just like, what the heck? And I put her out again and she was gone. But
why are they doing that stuff to you? Like, what's the purpose? Like, I'm here. I'm going to teleport this cat.
They like just wanted to like let me know. They're like, look what we can do. But I was blown away by that one. Just looking at this little list, I'd made some notes. I talked about most stuff. The one other aspect, I wanted to talk about that little person I saw.
Oh, yeah.
I was not expecting this. So we have a piece of land. I just found out it's 17 acres in Texas. It was inherited by my wife. I just went down and saw it for the first time. It's in the middle of Texas, in the middle of nowhere. There's a horse on the property. It was a rescue horse. The gentleman who owns the property bought it just to save its life. He's paying somebody to come feed it. It's kind of a burden on him because he's not even in Texas to see the horse. He's never ridden it, this and that. But I went down. I bought some sweet feed. I was just petting the horse, communicating, with it, trying to be – cause I'm an animal lover, you know what I mean, trying to just connect with it. That psychic told me the horse was my spirit animal. So whenever I'm around a horse, I like to massage him, rub him, get close to him, just try to show him love. But so anyway, the first night, I see him. I don't have any sweet feed. I'm not hanging out with the horse or anything. But we went and got close to him, but he wouldn't let me pet him. I'd get, my hand out there and he'd run away from me. But then I got the sweet feed, and the next day, but I woke up. My wife said the horse is here to see you. And so I got up and the horse is out there. But this time he's got two like twists coming down in his hair, and they're like tied in like the beginning of a knot. And I'm like, whoa, my wife told me even, she's like, there's like braids in his hair. And I'm like, I didn't even tell her about Bigfoot braiding hair. And I was thinking it's probably the Bigfoot. So I'm like, frig, these things followed me to Texas or what? Because I wasn't seeing any evidence off the road. And then I wake up, I go look, and the hair's braided. I leave the braids in the entire week we're there. They never get touched. Then on the way home, I'm driving through Texas. I drove at night so the kid could sleep and have some normalcy, and I stayed up all night, and I'd just sleep in the morning for a couple hours and continue the drive. It was like 14 hours, but 2 a.m, I went through Plainview, Texas on my way to Amarillo. I'm heading northbound on the highway, and I'm following a guy doing like 90 with his cruise control, and I'm barely keeping like at 85 because I don't want a speeding ticket because I already got one. So I'm like hanging there at like 85 miles an hour, and I can see this guy's taillights, and I'm trying to keep up with him, trying to catch up to him. I keep going like 90 and 85, and all of a sudden, about 50 feet in front of me, something breaks, and I see it cross the white line. And I don't know what it is, but I know it's moving fast. And so I focus my gaze on the yellow lines in the middle, and there is an upright being that has clothes on. I can see the torso. I can see the head clearly. I can't see the feet or the arms. They're like moving too fast. But I could see like a little nub of a nose. I could see black hair on the head. It was like brown clothing with like a sash or a belt around the middle that was a different color. I don't recall if it was lighter or darker. I remember there being a contrasting color and me going, is that thing wearing a belt? What the hell? And then it was across the road in about the same time, the same speed that I'm going up the road. Like I'm thinking it's going like 80 miles an hour across the road. It was just like boom, boom, boom. And the Lexus has two different colored headlights. So there's like a bluer beam and like a yellow beam. And I'm like, is this green? My first thought is like, it's green. I'm like, is it a lizard man? And then I'm like, that was human looking though. And then I'm like, why was it green? And I'm like, it must have been the headlights. It had to have been the headlights, and I'm just seeing things. And then I come home and I start watching videos, and then in one of your videos, you're like, oh yeah, they're often reported with green or gray skin. And like, I got chills. I called my wife at work. I was all freaked out. And then even the girl told me on one of my videos, oh, Bigfoot didn't do that. And I'm like, well, what did? And she's like, the little people. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I didn't see any Bigfoot signs in Texas. I'm like, but I could see the little people being out there. Like I really could. And so it was life-changing, man. Cause now I'm like, I would always say, yeah, the little people, I'm not really into them. I would just dismiss it. Like you talk about it and I'm like watching your videos, but I'm like, I'll catch up with that one later. I've watched them all, but I'm not like Bigfoot. I'm like on it, But the little people, I was kind of like, if I ever see one, but I probably won't. And then, I mean, like this was just, like I said, life-changing.
Damn, that's
now
crazy.
I really believe now.
How
like,
tall
really
is it about?
Like 2.5 to 3 feet tall.
That's the normal height for the little green ones. Yep. It sounds like you saw a little person, man.
It was cool, dude. It was cool.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, that probably sums it up. I don't know if I got notes, but I think I talked about everything that's what we're talking about. But yeah, they're a cool creature, man. They're
all
definitely
right, man.
a cool creature.
You want to give a shout out to your channel?
MrDuffy 81. If anybody wants to see my Colorado research videos and see what I found so far, you can take a look at my real Sasquatch I got on tape featured video on my channel. So
cool, man.
Thank you for allowing me to come on your channel, man. I'm a huge fan, and I didn't want to do this interview with anybody else because you really would. You take people seriously, and it's hard to get that with these psychic Sasquatch things. So
yeah, because
I thank you.
People aren't ready. People aren't ready for this information yet. It's like we're not there yet to accept this kind of stuff. It seems so kooky and stupid. Like I even remember back in the day how I used to think it was kind of dumb. You know, when people say like, "Ooh," you know, like they're kooky people. But then when you learn more about it and more, you get these weird experiences. You realize that it's not fake; it's legit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wasn't really looking for it, but I really believed like the Cooney lapsaritis and especially the Sasquatch Ontario. And I thought, really, there's a level to these things, and they happen to contact me, so that's where it all started. So
awesome, man! Thanks for the interview.
Yeah.
It was nice talking.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, it was fun, dude. We'll do this again sometime if you get any more encounters. Okay.
Thank you so much.
It's nice meeting you, man.
You too. Take care.
All right, guys. Sorry I haven't been on a while. I had a lot of drama in my life. I've been really frustrated with making videos because I use a MacBook Air. So I've been trying to save up to buy a MacBook Pro, and that's taken a while because they cost like $8,000. Expect more videos from me as soon as I'm able to purchase this new laptop. Right now, my laptop keeps maxing out on data. Like, if I edit a 40-minute video, I use Final Cut Pro. It duplicates the files to make the editing faster, and my hard drive gets maxed out, and I gotta like dump everything, every single video, and it's starting to get really frustrating. So I just kind of gave up on it, and I was like, man, I'm getting a new laptop, and then I'm gonna start making videos again. Like, that's my plan. I will be back. I will solve this problem. Maybe I'll do a GoFundMe or something so I can speed up the process. But I've been working as a security guard and talking to people about their encounters with little people. And I've heard hundreds of stories so far, so I got some really interesting stuff. Apologize for the lag and delay with videos, but I did not give up on this channel. So I'll see you guys around.